Fellas, a wild one in the association that came down to those last couple seconds. And Washington pulled it off, Max. So tell me this. How worried are you about the Nets with this superstar team?
As currently constructed, very. I don't see them getting out of the East as currently constructed. Let me give you, Stephen A. I mean, the eyeball test, you can see that they don't seem to care about defense. They gave up 48 points in the fourth quarter. 48 points in the fourth quarter to a sorry team. Think about that for a second. The Nets have played basically a whole slew of sorry teams. Their schedule's been very soft since the Harden trade. Do you know where they rank? Like, in that sample, since the Harden trade till now, their offense is the best ever. The best offense ever. Most points per 100 possession ever. You know what their defense is? The worst ever. Guys, ever. What? Not over any 10-game span, but if this were it for the whole season, they'd be on pace for that 10-game, whatever, how many games since Harden's been traded. That'd be the worst defense of all time. But when you're playing sorry teams, it means you get a little less credit for your offense, right? It's easier to score. And your defense is even worse than it seems. You have the worst defense ever. Playing teams have a hard time scoring. Yes, this worries me. In the last 20 years, no team that is below 11th in defense wins a championship. None. They're the worst ever since the Harden trade. I look at the Dallas Mavericks last year. They actually had the most efficient offense ever, but their defense was way better than this Nets team. They made a little noise in the playoffs. They didn't win the championship, right? This Nets team, the worst ever. Guys, they're going to have to make a move by the deadline. It's going to have to be someone who can secure defensive rebounds at the very least for them, a guy who can play significant minutes, because the defensive possession, Steve A., as lackluster as they are on defense, as much as they seem like they don't care, sometimes they kind of, that's not a bad defensive series set. What happens? They don't secure the defensive rebound. Like it's not over until you secure that defensive rebound. They are going to have to make a move, Stephen A., because it's currently constructed in this year of COVID, still with not practice like always, social distancing. They're not going to get it together the way another team might in a normal season. They're going to have to make a move.
Couple of things. Let me say to you. Number one, it's laughable that anybody would expect the Brooklyn Nets to play defense when Steve Nash, a Hall of Fame caliber player, we all know that Steve Nash was big time, but he would never be accused of being a great defender in his career. And as my brother Jamie Foxx once joked, take the D out of D'Antoni. At some point, you're going to have to figure out that you got to play defense at some time. D, take the D out of D'Antoni. That man ain't never been associated with defense. Even though the Houston Rockets in the bubble, their defense looked well. We all know that's because of Elston Turner and the job that he was doing as a defensive mind. D'Antoni ain't think about no damn defense. Never has, never will. That's just the way that it is. So when those are your two top coaches, your head coach and your lead assistant, and neither of them have defense associated with their names, you're going to have problems defensively. Number two, James Harden didn't play last night. So I'm not going to hold him accountable for that, regardless of how they look. It ain't because of him that they were struggling defensively. They've been struggling defensively from open and tap. This is the 27th ranked defense in the National Basketball Association. They are a bottom four defense in the NBA, and they have been that way since opening night. That's who they are. And so when I look at it from that perspective, it just says to me, yeah, it's a problem. But it's a problem that I anticipate they will overcome because everybody can't score 100-plus points, even against the Nets. I know it looked bad last night because, Max, don't underestimate. When Russell Westbrook is on the same court going up against Kevin Durant, you're going to see a show. You're going to see Russell Westbrook at his best. Boy, is he coming. And it's beautiful for us to watch them go at it with such ferocity. I think the bigger concern for the Brooklyn Nets is that although it's not by much, and although it's only by a shot or two last night, it's about a shot more season or whatever, I think it's problematic when Kevin Durant is not your leading shot taker. It's Kyrie Irving. I'm not blaming Kyrie for anything. I'm simply saying when you have Kevin Durant as efficient of a star as he is, he must shoot the ball more than everybody else. And that's not what's happening here. And I think that that's more problematic than their defense. Because let me tell you something. With the efficiency of a Kevin Durant, that will neutralize a lot of defenses because it will make them more tighter.
Oh,
Kyrie, for example, shot about 50% last night. Kevin Durant hit 57% of his shots. This is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. Go ahead, Max.
Wait, hold on. You are actually looking, let's take it since the Harden trade, at, I just said, the best, most efficient offense ever. They score the most points per 100 possessions of any basketball team that has ever played in the NBA. You're saying the issue is they need to get more efficient? Also, during that span, they're the least efficient defense.
No. That's
Stephen
not
A,
what I'm saying.
They give
that's
up.
No.
Hold on.
Listen, hold on. You hold on. No, you hold on. I'm not saying they as an offense need to be more efficient. I'm simply saying it's when we ask the question about how worried are we about the Nets, I am telling you more than their defense. I'm worried when someone other than Kevin Durant is the one taking more shots because to me that spells doom for them.
Wait a minute.
That's what I feel.
That is, take the logical extension of what you're saying. You're saying on offense, they need to realign the number of shots. Now, I agree it's better if Durant shoots more because he's the best player. But that's not the point. They can do just fine on offense like they're doing. In other words, the most efficient offense ever. I don't think the issue is if you look at that. You know what they need to do? Be even better on offense because Durant should shoot more. No. The least efficient defense ever needs to get better. Ever. Stephen A., they gave up 147 points to the Cavs. And then a couple nights later, $125 to the Cavs at home. Right? And it's the same thing with the Hawks. It's every team scoring over 125
I love how you think
points. They're awful.
But as somebody, Max, John Chaney just passed away on Friday. God rest his soul. I covered him. Larry Brown, 76ers Hall of Famer. I covered him. I'm talking about learning basketball from these folks, understanding that we get how awful the defense of the Brooklyn Nets is. But again, the operative word here is worried. When we talk about being worried, we're looking ahead. And what I'm saying is, as awful as Brooklyn's defense is, I think it might get slightly better. Instead of being the 27th ranked defense, Max, by season's end, they might be the 24th ranked defense. Okay, it's not going to be earth shattering. But if you have a trend where your most efficient offensive superstar is playing a secondary role, I believe that is what ultimately will come back and bite you even more than being what I'm assuming will be the 24th or 25th ranked defense, because their offense is so prolific. I think they can outscore a lot of people. But when it gets tight and you don't know, here you go. Take us to the promised land because you think you can do it. I think that's the kind of thing that ultimately will haunt them when it counts. Basketball at times against elite teams going against one another are about moments. And moments you got to know who to give it to.
That would be fine if two things were true which are not true. Number one, the thing that's not true. They're 27th overall in defense since the start of the season. But Stephen A., since Harden got there, they're the worst ever. Not just this year, but ever. Okay? They'd be on track to be the worst ever. So that means their defense has gotten not a little bit worse, but actually a lot worse. They're not trending in that direction. And if your claim is yes, but eventually with enough time, remember, not normal season with practice and all that stuff, with enough time, they can get up to the 24th ranked defense when I just told you no one below 11 has ever won a championship. What I'm telling you is even at 24 as great as the offense is, they aren't going to... What I'm saying is there's not going to be a lot of close games against top teams at this rate. They're having close games against the worst teams in the East. They're having close games.
So what are you implying? Are you implying? That when they go to the playoffs, they're going to get blown out? Are you implying that when they get to the playoffs, their games are not going to be close?
Yeah, that's right. What I'm saying is they're going to lose badly if they don't.
Nobody's blowing them out.
If they don't make a move for a defensive player, especially a guy who can get them defensive rebounds, they will not go far in the playoffs. They need to make a move by the deadline.
All right, we got to leave it there. The Nets currently second in the East at 13-9 behind the Sixers. How about those Sixers? Doc Rivers doing a nice job with them. Let's keep it rolling here, fellas. It's the best debate in sports. LeBron versus MJ. Stephen A says the king is greater than his airness in one very important